Are you in the recovery field and looking to expand your knowledge of the many pathways to recovery? Do you want to network with the nation's leading recovery leaders? If so, then the Multiple Pathways of Recovery Conference is for you. The Multiple Pathways to Recovery Conference, where we share and educate one another about the many different pathways, methods, practices, programs, and belief systems recoveries can use to enhance their recovery journey and sustain long-term recovery. Whether it's a 12-step, secular, a spiritual religious modality, medication-assisted recovery, or wellness-based and sober active communities, we've got you covered. At MPRC, you'll have the opportunity to connect with the recovery community, broaden your knowledge of the multiple pathways, and be refreshed in your journey of recovery, whatever that may be. So don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Tickets are on sale now at ccarconference.org. That's ccarconference.org. The Multiple Pathways to Recovery Conference, where all pathways to recovery meet.
Hey everybody, my name is TJ. I'm a person in long-term recovery. For me, that means I haven't had a drink or a drug since August 9th, 2016. I'm here with James. He is many things. He's an author, an entrepreneur, a podcaster, a CCAR employee, many, many other things. So I'd like to introduce James.
Hello everybody, James Sweat, an amazing all-around man, just like TJ stated, and I'm also a life coach.
When we were like warming up and talking and stuff, one of the things you were talking about your fiancée and being together, and she was part of the reason that you were in recovery.
Yes.
Tell me about that, because I don't know about that.
So we'll get into the story of how I ended up having to get into recovery. Growing up in my teens and 20s, I dabbled in the streets, got in trouble, did a little jail time, just for like smoking weed and drinking, stuff like that. I gave it up when I got my CDL and got out of jail. Then 2019, I had an injury on my job. I was a truck driver. I was delivering like cases of beer, kegs and stuff like that. I tore my spine and I was unable to walk for a while. 2020, January 2020, I just got out of a 5-year relationship, and my current fiance now slid my DMs. Right? Me and her start talking, we start hanging out. Later that year, November 2020, I ended up having spinal fusion surgery. So I got 4 screws and 2 rods in my spine for the rest of my life. Boy. And in that time, I almost died twice due to complications. I contracted fusobacterium, and then the PICC line that they put into my arm, into my heart to get rid of the fusobacterium got caught in my jugular vein. And I almost had a stroke and a heart attack at the same time. And at that time, I felt like my life was coming to an end, man. I couldn't walk, back surgery, almost died twice. And I got hooked on painkillers, prescribed from the doctors, Dilaudid, Perks. And I started drinking every day, and I just was in this horrible place, man, just super depressed. Thought life was over. I didn't know what I was going to do, man. Like, I didn't even think I could work anymore. I couldn't do any physical labor or lifting. So for a couple of years, I was just out there, and then one day my fiance says to me, "This is getting old, James, and I don't like it." And I said, "Is what I'm doing now worth losing an amazing woman?" Because she is amazing. God-fearing woman. She works, she cooks, she cleans, great mother, great sister, great daughter. People love her. She's genuine, caring. She's everything I could ever imagine. And when she said that to me, I realized it was time to let it go, no matter how much pain I was in. And the reason I was drinking and doing these things is because I was in constant pain, man. Like, every single day, I can't even sleep through the night without waking up. That's how bad it was. And so I said, you know what? I'll stop. No matter how much pain I'm in, no matter what I'm going through. And I went from 240 at the time of injury to 325 pounds. I put on a lot of weight. And I didn't feel good about myself. I felt like I wasn't attractive. I just was going through it mentally. So I started going to therapy. Went to therapy for like a year, talked to my therapist. She motivated me to want to lose weight. I ended up losing 70 pounds. I went from 325 down to 260
That's really good.
Yeah, in like 6 months.
Yep.
Hitting the gym every day, changing my diet. From there, she was like, James, you got to work for the rest of your life. What are you going to do? I have no idea. I can't even lift the remote right now. I'm in so much pain. And she's like, well, you got to do something. So she's like, you're a smart guy. Put your brain to use. That's where this came about. I wrote these 2 books, Mental Ambition, A Guide to Upgrading Your Life, and Mental Ambition, A Guide to a Better Relationship. This book details my struggles in life, getting arrested, getting shot, going to jail, and some real life lessons that people can learn from with this. Very motivational. And then this is my new book that just came out 2 weeks ago. I guarantee you this book right here will solve any relationship problem, or at least give you guidance to it. It's 55 topics that come with a relationship, starting from understanding who you are to how to break up with somebody. Everything is in this book right here. Both available on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes & Noble. So from there, my therapist was like, all right, you got the book out. So how you going to promote it? What else you going to do? It's like, I don't know. I can't do anything physical. But I've always been really good at talking to people and helping them with their problems, which is one of the reasons I wrote a book. So she was like, what can you do? I said, I'm going to be a life coach. Started going to online life coaching school, and I started just going around promoting my book wherever I can. From there, I walked into my very first speaking engagement. I went to a halfway house in Bridgeport. I can't remember the name of it, but Ernie Newton is the one that runs it, I believe. And I met a lady there named Sandra. She was like, I like what you're doing. I gave her a copy of the book. She's like, I like what you're doing. I like your story, and I think it can help a lot of people. You need to go down to CCAR in Bridgeport. And I was like, what's CCAR? And she was like, go check it out. Okay. I walked down into CCAR. It's July of 2023. I still had no job. I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills, and life was just stressing me out. I put everything I had into writing books and trying to start a business. And then from there, I just started volunteering. I grew in love with the culture, man, of recovery. And I needed it for myself to remain sober.
Yes.
You know, being around other like-minded individuals and seeing that recovery is not just, oh, I got to remain clean, oh, I can't use. It's learning different things. Like you can color, you can draw, you can go on trips, you can pick up trash around the neighborhood to give back to the community. It's not just strictly not using, it's finding different avenues to let out, you know, the addictions that you might have. Finding something more positive to do. That's what it breaks down to. So from there, I kept volunteering, and then a spot opened up in New Haven for the center coordinator.
Yep.
I applied. I think I did good in the interview because they hired me. And now I'm the center coordinator for New Haven. And that's kind of how my story from being in addiction to recovery to trying to start my own business to how I'm sitting behind this mic today.
It's pretty cool, dude.
It was a long journey, man.
So
long journey.
What sticks out to me a lot when you were talking about using to overcome pain, mm-hmm. right? So for you, the way I kind of looked into it a little bit is like the physical pain caused emotional pain, mm-hmm. caused drug and alcohol use, and then caused spiritual pain, mm-hmm. right? Because I think as a man in recovery, when we fall from like where we want to go, like we kind of fall out of that line of like, it's like sometimes I just feel like I need a job, you know? Like I just need something to do, you know? And like that's why I'm busy in my house, and like I like weed whack and mow the lawn and do all that stuff, or exercise the dog kind of thing. And like I really felt that connection. I don't have that specific issue around physical pain. I mean, I'm 30 now. You know, I get up and my knees crack and I'm losing some of my hairline, you know?
Sorry, I still did.
But like emotional pain, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's like, once we become abstinent from drugs and alcohol, the true recovery process around the emotional and the spiritual pain essentially becomes imminent. Either I'm gonna overcome it or I'm gonna use again. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. And with the spiritual side, God played the biggest part of me not using.
Tell me
and me
about
getting
that.
through it. It's because, so, reverting back to the story I just told, one day when my fiance said, I don't want to deal with this no more, I was sitting on my bed and I said, God, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of being in pain. I'm tired of using. I'm tired of feeling like crap. I'm just tired. And I think that, and at that time, no matter how much sleep I got, I was always tired. But sleep doesn't help when your soul is tired. And I think that's what it was. My spirit was dead to me. So I prayed to God to, the literal words I said were, tired of doing this my way, God. I offer my life to you. Do your will be done. When I tell you my life went to crap, that's when all the blood disease, and I caught COVID too during COVID. Like, everything went downhill. I was in the verge of losing my apartment. It was a lot, man. And one thing I've learned with spirituality, when you offer yourself to God or to a higher power, is sometimes everything has to be completely broken down before something new can be brought in. And for me to enjoy the life that I currently live, which is amazing, all that other stuff had to go. And now I am in a spiritual spot where I pray every day. I read the Bible as soon as I wake up. I currently have 2 bookmarks. One is in Proverbs and one is in Psalms. And every day I try and wake up and read a chapter. And just to get through the whole Bible, because as a Christian, I feel you should at least know the Bible for yourself. So that's what I'm trying to do. I go to church every Sunday. At that time, when I was going through the back stuff, even with my back hurting and I couldn't fully stand up, I still went to church. I prayed. I had people pray over me. I talked to God in a way that it was like I built a personal relationship where I can talk to him about anything. And God has always been there for me. And without God, I wouldn't be here, because I died before after getting shot. I almost died. This stuff, I almost died in multiple, like, so much stuff I shouldn't have overcame. And I think God's the only reason that I'm still here. And because I'm here, maybe my purpose is to help other people who might have gone through what I've gone through, or might be in the future, which is why one of the reasons I wrote this book and this book, because I feel that people can learn from everything that I've been through. Not saying that I have the worst story in the world, but just by looking at me, you wouldn't know that I've been stabbed, shot, heartbroken, betrayed, cheated on. I've been homeless. I've been on the run. I've been to jail. I've been through so much that I think the normal person might have folded and just continued to use. But I choose to use my pain to help others and show them that recovery is possible. Anything you've been through, or I'm looking at the camera, anything you've been through, you can change your whole life around, but you have to do the work. I'm living proof that you can overcome substance use disorder. You can overcome homelessness. You can overcome being fat if you think you're fat and need to lose weight. You can overcome mental health issues. I have complex PTSD from everything that I've been through. And you can get a relationship with a higher power. I believe in God. You believe in whatever you like, man. I'm living proof that you can do anything that you put your mind to. And that's what mental ambition is. Prepare your mind for any challenge and believe you can accomplish anything. And I think I can accomplish anything as long as God is standing with me.
That's awesome. I feel I feel the presence of your confidence when you talk about that. It's pretty cool. And like, I don't know, I really liked your specific story about like praying and stuff like that. And then it gets worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like, it's hard sometimes because as a person who is also a Christian, also sober, also, big higher power guy, big 12-step guy, my whole life I looked at like God like the magic genie, right? And it was like, hey, sitting in the back of the cop car, I remember sitting in the holding cell being 19. It's like, yep, just got hit with 2 felonies, about to go to court. And it's like, God, if there's anything out there, help me now, And like for me, like when I was young and I went to prison the first time, I felt like God really saved me because I would definitely overdose and died out there. Like I was close, You know, like I was close a lot of times, and like if I would have continued on, I would have been dead.
Yeah, being in them streets is real.
Yep.
Very real. So is that the turning point when you said?
I wish.
Okay. Me too.
I had more suffering to do. One of my biggest issues was like stubborn, right? It was like, so I'm a big abstinence-based person today, and then I used to play this drug ain't that drug kind of game.
Got you.
Right? And like, well, as long as it's not heroin,
You good?
Yep. And every time, so I remember getting out. I was on parole. I went to the towny bar that everybody goes to in Manchester. I got out. Oh, I seen the boys, this and that. You know, a couple of shots of Ruppelmint. I'm sipping a beer, talking to this girl, yada, yada, yada. You know, I get a look from another dude across the bar. You know, we're kind of like, he gave me the look, and it's like, all right. And then, like, you know, we go and sniff a little coke in the bathroom. And, like, dude, I just got my ankle bracelet cut off, and I was like, I need to get some heroin now. Like, that was good
Just like
enough.
that?
Just like that.
Wow.
And it was like, you know, so I went and got heroin. And this is also a very weird story, but go and pick up heroin. I sniff one bag. I get high. I go home. I woke up dope sick. I hadn't used opiates for almost a full year.
Wow.
And I sniffed one bag one time. I woke up dope sick. My brain remembered exactly where I was and brought me back to that place. That's how powerful the brain was.
Wow.
One use, I woke up dope sick. The medical professionals will tell you that's bullshit, right? But the other people who have that experience be like, yeah. Like I had a kid down from New Haven when I was at the young people's meeting. He was sober for a year, drank one time, woke up with the shakes, had to go to the hospital.
Wow.
And the hospital thought he was lying. They were like, you drank one time?
Man.
The mind is powerful.
It really is. And it's sad when people go to the hospital and they want the help, and you're literally telling them, this is what's wrong with me, and I need help, and they think you're lying.
Yep.
You know, because even with my back surgery stuff, the doctors thought I was lying. There's no way you should be hurting. You look like a good, healthy guy, and that can deter a lot of people and make people continue to use too. And I think that if you are in the medical field, I know people lie and people try to get drugs and do all this stuff, but there are some real people out here that just want to help. And by you saying someone is lying or turning them down or turning them away from treatment can really send them into a spiral, man. I just think some people should take, what's the right way to say it? They should take into account how your words can really have a traumatic effect on people.
Yes.
You know, and just taking a breath, because I had a traumatic effect. When I breathe, sometimes the things I think about bring me back there with my complex PTSD, and I need to take a breath. But when you said you got locked up and that saved you from the streets, I think it saved me too, man.
Yes.
You know, I got shot in 2007.
Okay.
In a drug deal gone wrong. And instead of getting out the streets, I hit him harder, selling more drugs.
How long were you hospitalized after that?
Like 3 days.
Okay.
I got shot. Someone shot through the window. They hit me in my femoral artery in my left leg, and I bled out in the car. And then they rushed me to Yale New Haven Hospital, and the doctor saved my life there. But I went from like 220 to 170 pounds in like 3 days from the damage that was done to my body. And the doctors kept me in there for like 3 days, and then I went home, and instead of learning my lesson, I went right back outside.
You weren't even like inpatient at the hospital for a long time. What was recovery from that like? Were you just walking with a limp kind of thing?
I had 2 crutches and I guess it's called a splint maybe, on my leg to keep it straight. But I didn't. Just young and dumb, man. I was supposed to stay in bed. I'm outside. I'm driving around. Yeah. I'm still selling drugs. I'm still smoking blunts, and I'm still drinking. And I got shot at 2000. The day before Thanksgiving, 2007. So Thanksgiving Day, that day, God gave me my life again. The story's in the book too, if anyone wants to read it. In the first book, Mental Ambition: The Guide to Upgrading Your Life. So from there, with the recovery, just being dumb and just driving around doing things I shouldn't be doing and involving myself with people I shouldn't involve. And over time, the hole closed. The stent in my leg was good, and the femoral artery is good. And the doctors just said, don't smoke because it can cause your arteries to close, and then you might lose your leg. And
Didn't even care.
didn't even care. Just young and dumb.
Are you ready to make a difference in the lives of others? If so, then you should consider becoming a recovery coach. Recovery coaches are trained to help people in recovery, seeking recovery, or struggling with addiction. They provide support, guidance, and resources to help people on their recovery journey. CCAR Training is the leading provider of recovery coach training programs. Our programs are designed to teach you the skills and knowledge, what we call the science, while giving you an understanding of your own art needed to be a successful recovery coach. We offer a variety of training options, most offered online. If you're interested in becoming a recovery coach or just learning more, I encourage you to visit our website or contact us today. We would be happy to answer any questions you have and help you get started on your journey to becoming a recovery coach. We hope you'll visit us at www.addictionrecoverytraining.org to learn more.
I think the first time I got arrested was 2008. That was the first time I got arrested, 2008. And
Ended up in Whaley.
I got arrested in Hamden at a drug stop, and I had an ounce of weed in my ball and shorts in my jeans. And the cops brought us down to Hamden, but if you go to Hamden, they bring you to Meriden.
Oh, okay.
Meriden Court. So I stayed in Hamden overnight, and then they brought me to Meriden Court, and I had to catch the bus back home. I got out on a promise to appear.
Okay.
Then I got arrested. The second time I got arrested was I was with my boys. We got pulled over. I had a half a pound of weed in the car, and I was on probation for the original charge.
Done.
So I ended up my mom's bonded me out, but then they had a warrant out for me because I violated probation. I was on the run for a little while, and then I ended up getting arrested again, and then that's when I got shipped to, I was in Whaley, and then from Whaley I went to Bridgeport, and I just served my time there. I had 18 months.
Not bad.
Nothing too bad, but it was enough to let me know that I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
I don't want to be around a bunch of men who are farting and arguing over noodles and fighting and gambling. It's a lot to deal with mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I said, when I get out, I'm not doing this no more. I'm done. That was the turning point that where I was really like, this is it for me. So when I got out, I got my security guard license, I got my CDL, and I put in my pardon paperwork when the time came and represented myself in court. Got a full pardon now. So
Nice,
I have
dude.
a record.
That's awesome. I got pardoned too recently.
Come on now. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's cool how, recovery works in your life,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's crazy how the stories and the things that we've been through, people would never know, man. If you don't ever tell them, right?
No.
People judge a lot of books by their cover.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. You're a pretty cool dude.
No, thank you, man.
You know.
Likewise.
Thank you. And I don't know, it was kind of funny. You were talking about like the whole experience in county jail. Yeah, my first time, I'm like, they walk you out to a hallway, and I'm like, you literally live in a hallway with bunk beds and like, and you're kind of like, what the hell is this?
What is this?
Yeah.
This is where I gotta stay. Or in a gym with 100 bunk beds.
Yep.
Or and going back and forth to court all day. I used to hate that.
Yep.
Wake up 4 or 5 in the morning, get on that little ice cream truck, go sit in bullpen all day, bologna sandwiches with the coleslaw and the mustard, like
Nasty.
horrible work, man. And then you get back 10, 11 at night, you done missed chow, and if you ain't got no commie, you good, you done.
Yep.
You ain't eating till the next day. I used to have to fill up on water.
Yep.
As much water as I could drink. I don't want to go back to them days.
No. Never.
Never.
So I didn't find recovery right out of prison. So the second time I got out of prison, I didn't find recovery. I attempted to. But what made me think of like what you were talking about was basically faith without works is dead.
Key. That's key.
Right? So like we fall into this trap, or I used to fall into this trap of basically like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, or, and like for me, like I'm a both and kind of guy, right? Not a this or that kind of guy. So in my life, I need my family. I need some exercise, right? Physical health, trying to take care of. I could eat better. I could do better in that department. Spiritual health, right? Like God, emotional health, right? Therapy, that type of stuff, thinking better mental health, and taking care of myself in a better way, right? Like I need a positive living space. I need a positive, uplifting partner. I need positive, uplifting people around me. It's not just a this or that, right? And like that was my trap. Is like I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna get big. I'm gonna go to the gym, right? Or like, oh, I'm gonna go to church, and it's like that's great, but
there's more work to be done.
A lot more. And, like, we can fall into that trap. And, like, so the second time I got out, right, I was like, all right, I'm going to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I was going to kind of putz around. And it wasn't until, like, I really got into a 12-step fellowship where I got around some other guys who kind of, like, showed me a part of the way. I needed that guidance.
I think we all need guidance, even as adults.
Yes.
We all need help figuring out what we want to do next. How to get to a higher spiritual level, how to make more money, how to start a business. We all need guidance, man. But having positive, like-minded people around you is key in recovery. You need someone who's I'm struggling right now. I need someone to talk to. And you need to be able to pick up that phone and say, hey, I'm thinking about using. Can you help me? Or can you just listen to me talk while I vent? You know what I'm saying? That's one of the main reasons I became a life coach, because a lot of people just need someone to talk to, man. That's why I like being a recovery coach as well, because it's like people come in, I'm thinking about using. Well, just talk to me. What's your problem? And at the end, most of the time, they don't want to use anymore. They were just stressed out and needed somebody to talk to. And that right there, that's why I love CCAR, because recovery coaching saves lives, man. Definitely. It keeps people off of heroin or whatever your drug of choice is. It keeps people from alcohol, and it gives you somewhere to come into if you go into the community centers. There's a bunch of stuff to do every single day, man. We make a calendar full of fun things to do. And every center you go into, there's recovery coaches. So if you're having a bad day, you got someone to talk to. Or if you need someone to give you some resources, that's what CCAR is about. Whatever they need for their recovery and pointing you in the right direction. But you're right. It's being full circle, man. Family, God, relationship, working out, mental health, all this stuff comes together to give you a good feeling inside. It's not just staying on one topic and just going with it like just working out. You got to do everything, and that's how you feel more whole. Because I know when it came to me at a certain point, no matter what I did, I felt empty inside. But now I feel full of confidence and energy in God. So it's definitely a process, and it's not going to be done overnight for anyone that's just starting recovery or thinking about restarting recovery. But once you get to a good space, trust me, this is an amazing feeling. I'm not saying I don't still have urges, but when I do, I talk to somebody. But I know how to better control my emotions. I know how to, now I can pay my bills and I'm not spending money on getting high or going to the bar. And it's being more responsible and open and having my family and friends proud of me as opposed to looking at me as maybe a failure. So it comes full circle, but once you get to the right spot, it's an amazing feeling, man. And this, right now, at 37, this is the best I've ever been in my life. 2 years ago, I couldn't walk. I can walk now. I can run. I can jump. And life is great, man. God is great. And I thank God every day. Every day I roll over, thank God for another day.
That's awesome. And, like, you were talking about, like, when somebody comes to you, right, or, like, you come to somebody else, it's like, I want to use. And it's like, right? And, like, why do we want to use? We want to use because drugs and alcohol is always the first answer to all, or was always the first answer to all of our problems, right? My problem wasn't drugs and alcohol. My problem was everything else. Drugs and alcohol became my solution. It became the solution that destroyed my life, right? Like, I didn't like who I was as a person. I didn't like, who I was, how, who I became, and all the things that I was, like, really suffering from, right? Like, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And, like, drugs and alcohol became the solution. It became the glue to the cracks, and, like, it what made me feel fulfilled until it took everything from me in the process, right? And I lost myself.
Yeah. And the refining yourself is the hard part, right?
Yes.
This is the biggest problem with drugs and alcohol, right, that I see. It's whenever you have a problem it's like you can take a mini vacation from your problems.
Yeah.
But then once you come back from that mini vacation, you're like, oh, this sucks still.
Yep.
And then that's when addiction kicks in, because it goes from using once a day to maybe twice a day, 3 times. Now it's full blown every single day. You ain't even getting high, or you're not even getting drunk because you built up such a tolerance. And that's when the addiction really kicks off.
And you're maintaining.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like that comparison. The mini vacation, you get back and you're just like, yo, my problems are worse.
No, but man, the lives we've lived, man.
Yeah.
And we turned out to be some great guys.
Yeah. Worked out pretty well, right?
Yes, it did. It goes to show you, man, no matter what life throws at you, you can always change your life around.
Absolutely.
But it all starts with us putting in that work.
Yep. The effort, right? Effort and consistency.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I think being consistent, right? And like, for me, like when I got sober, I was like single, life was in shambles. I was sleeping in my parents' house. I was up in my childhood twin bed, you know, feet hanging off the side because I'm so damn big. And like no job, nothing, right? So like I did like the 90 and 90, what people suggested, right? And like that was like my first form of consistency, right?
What's the 90-90?
So it's like 90 meetings in 90 days.
Really?
Yeah.
For 90 days, you went to a meeting every single day?
Every day. Right? They call it the first trimester of recovery. You know?
How'd that work out for you? How was it?
Perfect.
Perfect.
I did actually like 156 meetings in my first 90 days.
Okay.
I was a loser. I had nothing else to do.
You weren't a loser. You were determined.
Yes.
There you go. He's determined.
No. I was just messing around. But, yeah. And so, basically, you know, you probably talk about it where, like, changing habits. I needed to change habits, right?
Yes.
And it started with going to meetings all the time, right? I'd get up, I'd go to the 7 a.m. meeting. I'd go to a meeting at night with my boys. We'd go out, we'd get ice cream, we'd do whatever, you know? And then, like, doing that for 90 days, that became my new routine, right? Yeah. I changed that perspective on, like, on life, right? And then, like, that first habit gets you going in that positive direction.
Yes.
That changed my life, right? Because I was like, then I met and you bond with these people. And all of a sudden it's like, damn, like people like go through similar experiences and stay sober. People go through this. You know, this dude's getting a divorce, sober. This dude's mom just died. He's still sober, right? This dude, you know, his kid lost an arm. He's still sober, right? And, like, those are all real, true stories. I remember being in the 7 a.m. meeting, right? And then the same thing, when people would go out and they would use and they would come back, the same people would be in the same place doing the same thing, still sober, right? And I felt so connected to God when I walked in that room because I felt so a part of. Like, that was my first experience with God. It was like I've never felt like I needed to be there more than I felt like that anywhere else at any other time, right? Like, I just felt so a part of.
It's like they accept you with open arms because they know what you've been through.
Yeah. You
know, and it's being around like-minded people and being in a community of people who want to do better. It's very welcoming. And that's what I love about CCAR. Whatever center you go into, you're going to get that same love.
Yep.
That same love.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the idea around a recovery community center, right? Is multiple pathways.
Yep.
So you go to a 12-step club, it's all 12-step people, you know, and... You know, you come to CCAR and, like, it's that same type of environment, just in a multiple pathway sense.
Yep. Right? That's what I like, too, because whatever works for one person might not work for another.
Yes.
And here at CCAR, we say, how may we help you with your recovery today, and what does recovery look like for you? And we let the recovery figure out what works for them. If they need meetings, we have meetings. If you need some activities, we have activities. Whatever your pathway is to getting into recovery is the key, and you figure that out on your own. Just because what he did and what I did worked for us might not work for you. You might need something different. You might have to relapse a couple of times or whatever you need to do in order to get to where you want to be.
Yep.
But that's the process of recovery, and it's different for every single person.
Yes.
You know, and being a recovery coach, that's the main thing to realize is if anyone wants to be a recovery coach in the future, you got to accept where people are and meet them there. Because some people will be ready to go into a rehab. Some people don't want rehab. They might want to be more spiritual, start going to church. Some people might want some NAAA meetings. Some people might need inpatient. It's just meeting the recovery where they're at. And I find that incredible with CCAR's motto because it doesn't exclude anyone. Everyone's welcome here. Yep. You're able to come in and be accepted by loving people who just want to see you do better. And if you mess up, we don't care. We'll still welcome you with the same open arms. You messed up, high five.
Yeah.
You won't do it again, will you? Nope. And if you do, I'll still give you another high five. You know what I'm saying? You're back. The main thing is that you keep coming through this door. And that's the key.
Absolutely.
Keep coming back for the recovery. You know, when I say that this is the best job I've ever done, it doesn't feel like work.
Yep.
When they say that when you find your purpose, it's natural to you, I love doing this every single day. I love being able to help people with the help that they're looking for, whether it's resources or just being a listening ear. I love this job, man.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome. Yeah, so I think that's one of the underspoken purposes, or I think that's one of the underspoken things about a recovery community center is finding purpose. That's what I did there, right? Between volunteering experiences and all that.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I mean, when I started volunteering, I didn't really think I was just going to become a recovery coach or anything like that. I just knew that, like, if I came here and I helped out and I did something, like, I wasn't going to use drugs today. You know? And, like, that was so much for me. Especially in the beginning.
For a lot of people. If you need something to do and you ain't got no job, come on down to CCAR. There's what, 7 locations now? 8? 8 locations all across Connecticut. Come in and volunteer. Meet some great people. Talk to some people. See what the community center is like. Enjoy some of the activities. Come to the all recovery meetings. Come and see what CCAR has to offer, man. There's so many great things that are here. That I was even surprised when I started volunteering. I was like, I just come here, clean up a little bit, do these meetings. But as I started volunteering more, I was like, I like these meetings. I like the positivity that comes through here. I like the mindset that people have, and I like the welcoming atmosphere. And it's just everyone's coming together for fun and for recovery, and it's not no judgment, you know. And that's what I really like about it, man. But volunteering can really open some doors.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I always see you out, and I don't get to I get to have a brief conversation because I'm pulled in 1,000 different directions all the time. But it was cool to be able to sit down and learn about your recovery story today, and like learn about you as a person. And like, I always had a great vibe with you. I met you, I was like, "What's up, dude?" And like, you know, I thought we were like pretty cool. But it's like I feel like more connected to you today after hearing your experience.
Well, thank you. Likewise, my man.
I appreciate that. Thank you, brother.
No problem. Anytime.
Awesome.